Welcome to today's session on how to become a more successful change leader. And today I am going to challenge some beliefs that you hold strong. So please get ready. So if you haven't been part of this session before, if you've not, usually I've thought about this and I see a few familiar faces. So if you haven't been part of any of the previous sessions, get ready to be challenged on some of the beliefs that you may hold close. So again, welcome today to how to become a more successful change leader in your organization or industry. So who is this masterclass for? If you're someone who is responsible for leading change in your organization, if you are a change management professional, or you're aspiring to be a change management professional or practitioner, or you are a project management professional who right now, most project management professionals, you're being challenged to lead and manage change, and they give you a responsibility and they say, oh, you can do that, can't you? So if you're a project management professional and you're being challenged to start to lead and drive change, if you're a business analyst professional, or if you're just a manager or team lead who is being increasingly tasked with the responsibility for leading and managing change, and then I say welcome to today's session. What you for this masterclass is really for anybody who wants to learn to more successfully lead or manage change. And I will share with you how you can use change leadership as a tool to overcome these barriers that you may face at work, how to effectively lead change, position yourself for success, and also elevate your career at the same time. I'm going to do all of that, hopefully in the next 1 hour. And in the last 15 to 30 minutes, I will try and answer questions and share with you more about how you can really elevate your skills and competencies to lead change more successfully. You are also in the right place if you want to learn how to overcome constant roadblocks when faced with leading change so that you can get results with your stakeholders. You're in the right place if you want to know what works and you want to stop wasting your time on outdated practices that no longer work. And again, if you are in the right place, if you're relatively new to leading and managing change and you're just trying to figure out what really works, what should I be doing? So if you want to increase your influence, stand out as a change leader at work and in your industry, this masterclass is definitely for you. So if that sounds like you, hang in tight with me and you're going to benefit from what I'm going to be sharing with you today. However, this masterclass is not for you if you're not ready to challenge your thinking, if you are already an expert and you know all there is to know about leading change, then this isn't the right place for you. But if all other points that I've raised earlier count, then this masterclass is for you. At the end of the masterclass, I'll also be sharing next steps that you can take to get more and to accelerate your change leadership skills and competencies. And if you stick around to the end, I have 3 gifts for you. One is a free template to help you develop an action plan to prepare yourselves for the future of work, or what I like to call the now future of work, or accelerated future of work. And secondly, I'll also be sharing with you how you can get free change leadership mentorship with me for 12 months, plus free access to our VIP club when you join our online change leadership accelerator course, as well as some other bonuses that I will be sharing with you. But first, I want to introduce you to a couple of facilitators today. Who's read the book, Who Moved My Cheese? If you've read the book, Who Moved My Cheese, just type it, yes, I've read it. If you've never read it, just say, no, I haven't read it. But if you've heard me talk about one of my favorite books ever, you'd know that this is one of my all-time favorite books when it comes to leading change. So meet Sniv, Scurry, Hem, Har, who are from the book, Who Moved My Cheese. So Scurry has a fun competition for you today. I did say they would be my co-facilitators. And we have to choose a winner at the end. So Scurry is asking you, hi, do you want to get the recognition that you deserve for your next project? And the role or the recognition goes to that person, the first person who can convince their project sponsor and management team to buy into their change idea or strategy. However, there is a challenge. One, the sponsor or management team, they don't really understand what change management is. And then two, they're also skeptical about change management. It's one of those things they keep on hearing, but they're not too sure if it's necessary. So that's the challenge, and that's the question. So I want you to meet Pat. Pat is one, she's been tasked with this. So what does Pat do with this competition or with this challenge? She gets on it immediately. She starts searching for templates on Google, reaches out to her network to ask for questions, for templates. She works hard to create the perfect change strategy that she can present her idea and approach. And guess what? Her boss reviews it and says, wow, fantastic. A meeting is scheduled with the management team and the document is attached. On the day of the meeting, what happens? The project sponsor cancels the meeting to reschedule it for another month. Who knows what it feels like when you've worked really hard on that change strategy or worked really hard on that document or that presentation only to have the meeting canceled? Who knows what it feels like? I also want you to meet Erin. Erin gets the same challenge and question, and the first thing she does is grabs a cup of coffee, maps out her idea and approach, identifying 3 colleagues that she must speak with. And after a few chats with these colleagues, she creates a roadmap, schedules individual meetings with each member of the management team. And following these meetings, the next thing she decides to do is that she meets with them, they get excited about her ideas, and they ask her to share her change strategy immediately for review and approval. And then she goes to her highly curated change toolkit to help her design a tailored change strategy for approval. Let's choose a winner. Who wants Erin's results? Does this sound like something that you'd like when it comes to leading and managing change? Do any of the following also sound familiar? If you've been leading change, or if you're new to leading change, get ready to face some of these things. Have you ever been approached by your boss or project sponsor to share ideas and plans, and you share with them knowing that, this will give us the right results, but they don't listen, and then things end up going downhill? I know the feeling. And guess what? You end up wondering, why didn't they just listen to me in the first place? And you're wondering whether there was something that you could have done differently. Or have you ever been faced with internal business politics? You're constantly frustrated when your management team and stakeholders don't seem to buy into the change or how it can benefit the team and organization. We all know that small problems have a habit of kind of morphing into bigger ones very quickly. Disgruntled colleagues poisoning the minds of new colleagues with negativity. So all those internal politics start to slowly build up and bubble. You're constantly frustrated at having to navigate all of those internal politics that we're faced with. And this can sometimes leave us feeling like, are we doing the right thing? It leaves us wondering, is the work that we're doing making a difference in the organization? Or you wonder where your career is even going. And sometimes it's easy to lose confidence and start to doubt ourselves on whether we're in the right career, whether we're doing the right thing. And this can lead to demotivation, inaction, which can be both damaging, whether to our confidence or even to our career aspirations or expectations. I've certainly been there. If any of the above feels like you, then there's good news, because there's a way out of it. And it starts with developing our change leadership skills. Yes, you can do this. You can do this by how you apply certain change leadership skills and competencies to overcome all of those frustrations that I've raised. By developing your change leadership competencies, working with stakeholders would seem much more like a breeze and less frustrating. Imagine the confidence that that will give you. You get management and stakeholders inviting you to meetings that you did not even know were happening, that will help you be more effective in your role. Your career potential will go through the roof and you become more sought after in your on projects or in your organizations and in the industry. Why am I confident that you can have all of this or this can happen? Because I've had this happen to me and I'm going to share them with you. So in case we've never met, nice to meet you. I'm Yvonne Ruke Akpoveta, and thank you for joining me today. I'm a change management strategist. I'm also the founder of the Change Leadership. At the Change Leadership, our focus is really all about helping professionals and organizations to successfully lead and manage change, especially in today's disruptive, business environment. And leading positive change is one of my passions, and I've been doing it for over 20 years. I've worked with global organizations like RBC, Ontario Government, Deloitte, Marks and Spencer's, JP Morgan Chase, Lloyd's TSB. And this ultimately led me to becoming a change leadership advocate to help spotlight the benefits of change done right. I have a business BSc in IT and marketing from London Guildhall University, an MBA from Warwick Business School, and also change leadership certificate from Cornell University. I'm also a published author, advisor, coach, speaker, change, and change catalyst, as I like to call myself. But guess what? It didn't always start out this rosy, not at all. It wasn't always rosy. I started my career by being, laid off from my very first job out of university. And that was a blessing because it shifted my career mindset. And my career journey started off with me being a business analyst before I moved into project management, management consulting, and now change management strategist. I got the benefit of multiple promotions. In one role, I was promoted multiple times in a span of 2 years in that organization. In another organization, I was promoted from project manager to managing a team of over 20 people. All at this time, building my own business on the side. I have appeared on media like BBC, Forbes, and other popular media. I've also written a couple of books like I mentioned. I share all of this and to get to the next part with how was I able to do all of this? What helped me? It was the approach in how I applied various change leadership competencies, both in my professional life and at work. But most importantly, in all of this, for me, was recognizing the impact that leading change has on lives in our communities when rightly or wrongly done. And that's why I say I'm a change leadership advocate. For me, effective change leadership can go beyond just return on investment. Over the years, I got tired of outdated change management models and practices that were not working. It was heartbreaking to see the effects of failed projects such as organizational restructures, closures, job losses. And this, consequently leading to low employee morale and mental well-being, and also negative impacts on our communities at large. I strongly believe that when change leadership is done right, it can save jobs and it's critical to the mental well-being of employees and folks in the organization, and also positively impacts the community and economy. So the saying goes that necessity is the mother of invention. And that was what led us to the change leadership DNA being born, which was born out of my years of experience from getting it right and sometimes not getting it right. And believe me, I did get it wrong a few times. And also from experiencing frustration and wanting to tear my hair out and questioning myself if I was in the right role. But for me, the saying rings true that experience is the best teacher, but only if you learn from it. And I did learn from it. And that was where the change leadership DNA was born. by following the change leadership DNA, as I now call it, it has enabled me to get positive results and outcomes, to effectively and positively influence stakeholders. It has helped me to get a seat at the table and increase my influence. It's helped me to stop wondering about what to do next, or worrying about what to do next, about what, when, or how when leading and managing change. It has allowed me to experience repeated success on change initiatives, increase my confidence, and provided me with a timeless approach to leading change that works. And it has really accelerated my career growth as a change leader, to being sought after in change roles, consulting, mentoring, and advisory roles. So, my next question for you, are you ready to ditch perfectionist paths? As great as she is, looking for the right templates, making sure she gets it right, dots her I's and T's. She works hard. That is not the results that we want. We want to be able to get our stakeholders' attention and get them excited about the change. So who wants to join me in learning about the effortless earning approach and more? Ready to join me today? So let's keep going. I'm going to share with you what we can do to get there and what the change leadership DNA is all about. But first, I'm going to take a look at 3 mistakes with you that could be holding us back from successfully leading and managing change. So before I go any further, I want to get a pulse for how things are going. You're still with me? Just type in yes. Do you want to be able to successfully lead and manage change? Have you got your pen and notepad next to you? Are you taking notes? Have you even got your coffee or some water next to you? So I want to see some yeses there. So let's keep going. So the mistake number 1 that we easily make is relying on change management templates and models to be able to influence and lead change. Believing that if you just get the right change management template or the model, it will get you the results and get your leaders and stakeholders to buy into the change. Unfortunately, this is an old way of thinking when it comes to leading change, that by mastering change management models or having templates that will get results, that everything is going to work like magic, because that's what we've been taught. I get it. I went through that as well, get the right change management model, get the right framework, get the right templates, and you're good to go. But things are changing. There are hundreds of change management models out there, which is really great. It has proved, but many of them are very similar. Great to have them, great to have frameworks. I love them, I use them. But time and time again, it's proven to us that what gets results is having a more human-centered approach to change, which is where having change leadership skills really comes in handy. Why is a human-centered approach critical? Simple. We're working with people. Each stakeholder or group of stakeholders have unique needs and behaviors in how they respond to change. Added on that, every organization is different, and each type of change, though they may have some similarities, impact organizations differently. I've implemented ERP solutions in different organizations, and how we implemented those ERP solutions or changes in each of those organizations tend to differ. They were different. So imagine mastering then what happens when you're now faced with another organization that is different? Templates and models can only go so far. Based on research, interviews, and experience, here are the top 5 common reasons why change initiatives fail. 1, poor communication. 2, lack of buy-in from management or stakeholders, lack of a shared vision or even vision at all, low team engagement and staffing, resistance to change. When we see all of these 5 reasons why change fails, what do they all have in common? What do these 5 reasons have in common? They're not change management model or templates-based issues. They're all people-related issues. They all require having change leadership skills and competencies. Change is people-focused because people can be complex, which leads to change, being able to lead and manage change, being an art of working with people. There's a new way of thinking that we need to start embracing to help position ourselves for success. And that is the art of being able to lead change. The art of being able to lead change is the ability to apply the right skills and competencies. You can have models, and please do have models, great. However, how you apply your change leadership competencies to these models and the knowledge that you apply with it is what is the art and is what will get you the results. Mistake number 2 is relying on popular change management certifications to automatically open doors for us. So if you're new to if you're new to change management, you might see, oh, if I get the certification, I'm good. Or you want to hire somebody, and because they have a certification, you hire them, and that's all good. But however, you can be knowledge rich and skills poor. Having all the change management certifications and degree is almost like paying for a fully kitted and top of the line Ferrari, but not knowing how to drive. The old way was spend thousands on highly recognized certifications, attend prestigious institutions. That used to work in terms of opening doors for us in the past. But this way of thinking is holding many professionals back. We were raised with the belief that by getting more formal education, this will get us the results that we need. While a master's degree or certification will open doors, not having practical change leadership competencies to get real results will get us nowhere. Full disclosure, like I did at the beginning, I do have a master's degree, but it took more than having those certifications to have doors keep opening for me in my career. And I totally understand, you see it on job postings, it's often a requirement. Like I said, they may open doors for you. But the question I have for you is, will they keep the doors open? Education is being disrupted, and it's no longer the major foot in the door strategy. Many people out there with master's degrees and their careers are stagnant. The only way to progress is by showing actual skills that are desired in today's workplace, not degrees, not certifications. I know this goes against the grain and much of what we've been conditioned to believe, but things have changed and they're still changing. I'll share this with you from the World Economic Forum. Here are some shifts that are taking place around the future of work that are resulting, from things like AI, robotics, automation, advanced technologies, and even now the pandemic. The WEF cited the top 10 skills for 2025, and most of them included what it takes to be a change leader, and I've highlighted them here, be it critical thinking and decision-making, leadership, social influence, emotional intelligence, empathy, influence, and persuasion. There's a new way of thinking, and that is that we need to start embracing a new mindset that will help us position ourselves for the future of work. You may have taken the certification or thinking, what next? You may even be thinking of taking one and in the process of making a decision. One question that I have for you, and I often get asked by folks, they ask me all this all the time before they jump into our program, is how does it compare with other programs out there? And my answer is always, if you're looking for something great to put on your resume, certifications and degrees, all of those things work. They do work. I recommend it. If you're new to the market, put a certification there. Let the door be open for you, because you need those doors to be open for you. But if you're looking for something practical that will help you get results and hit the ground working, that is often what we try to teach people, the practical way to do change, the practical way to lead and manage change. And this always complements with the certifications out there. I remember a student asking me sometimes last year, or even sharing with me, not asking me, she was sharing with me how being on the program helped her with her interview process. She got into the interview process, and little did she know that it was actually what she was learning, the practical things that she was learning on our program, that was what she was able to use to respond to questions in her interview. So the future of work is here. Organizations are recognizing and promoting people based on skills and not education portfolios alone. Organizations are looking for professionals who are responsive to change and who have the skills and competencies to help lead the way. The final mistake that I want to share with you is the misconception out there on the role of leading versus managing change. And that leads to further chaos and poor results. There's a common pitfall out there that change leadership is the same as change management. They are not the same. This misconception often leads folks, to chase down the wrong path of always like change management training, or maybe that certification, or looking for great models or frameworks, and they lose sight of what it truly means to lead change and what it truly takes to lead change. Our focus today is going to be on change leadership skills that will help successfully position you to lead or manage change. So whether you're a change manager, you need change leadership. Even if you're not a change manager, you still need change leadership. That's one commonality. What we're going to talk about today is focused on leadership-based competencies required across a broad range of roles and levels in an organization. It's about having change leadership skills that will help you navigate some of the top reasons on why projects fail. The old way was that we started a job or we started a role or project, and the responsibilities were often clear and aligned with the expectations of management and stakeholders across board. Who has ever been hired for one thing and told to do something else? Still today, it still happens. You've been hired maybe as a project manager and you're being asked to do change management, or you've been hired even as a change manager to do a certain scope of work, and now they've suddenly expanded the scope of work, or out of the blue you're responsible for doing something that you didn't think that you were responsible for. But guess what? In today's future of work, in the way we do work right now, lines are becoming blurred. Who's responsible for change within the team? Is it you as a change manager, you as a business analyst, you as a project manager, or you as a manager or team on your project? I remember a particular project where I was brought in as a change manager and had to do project management and change management work. But being flexible to jump in and help where was needed was what was most invaluable to that organization. And this happened to me not once, not twice. So that flexibility and changing roles is happening in organizations, and you may find yourself anywhere having to jump in and be able to lead change and drive change and apply more change leadership skills than, the models and methodologies that you have in your portfolio. So this is what helped me to get multiple promotions, just to give you an insight, because I was always flexible to be able to jump in and use my leadership skills wherever that was needed in any project, or even when I was a project manager, and yet I was driving change on the project and these projects were high profile. So leading change is always being flexible, responsive, and agile to produce positive outcomes. Again, there's a new way of thinking, and it's the need to start embracing those skills that will help position us. And why is this happening? Organizations are becoming flatter. Change leadership is no longer reserved for just a few select roles or titles. The pace of change is faster. Job roles and responsibilities are evolving. This means that as a professional, you need to be able to lead change. And as a change professional, your expertise at leading change needs to be off the roof. Organizations want more. There's an increased demand for interpersonal versus technical skills or models. I'm sure you know, you've heard the saying that people get hired for their talents or technical skills or for that great certification or great university that you have on your resume. But people end up getting fired for their interpersonal skills or not being able to deliver on the job. Take the pandemic. I saw a poll the other day on whether the demand had increased or reduced for change management, taking into account that, you know, organizations had to just quickly respond to change, and things that would have taken 3 years and multiple change management plans and strategy documents were being done in 3 months. So the question there was, you know, how has this impacted change management and the need for change management? And my honest answer was that I don't know. But what I do know is that it's impacted the need and increased demand for having change leadership skills, regardless of your role. Because when organizations needed to respond to change very quickly, they didn't wait for models or frameworks. They waited for people who had the skills and abilities to be able to jump into the situation and make it happen very quickly and lead the change. So change is changing, and change leadership goes beyond the ability to use templates and models. Effectively leading change means breaking out of the box to get the results that it is that you need. So successfully leading change requires having the skills to work with people, being flexible to do what is needed to bring about successful outcomes for that project, for that task, or for that idea. So I have a challenge question for you today before I continue. I may have challenged your thinking a little bit so far, or you may just agree with me. But I want you to think right now and answer the question, you know, do you believe that you can stop having to worry about what certifications you have, which change management models to use, or if your change initiative is going to fail or succeed? That's a question I have for you, and I need you to keep in the back of your mind, or even answer it if you can now. If you're still on the fence, that's fine, but I want to share with you how you can develop your change leadership DNA and how you can leverage it for success. So I'm going to be providing pointers for you next on how you can do that. So I mentioned the change leadership DNA, and it stands for discovering your competencies. It stands for navigating through change by practically applying the right change leadership competencies and tools. It speaks to anticipating to strategically overcome barriers by preempting, preparing, and responding to change. The Change Leadership Accelerator DNA is our signature method designed to get you real results. I'm sharing it with you today to help you create your own DNA and personalized approach to becoming a more confident and successful change leader. So by using this method, thinking about this or thinking this around this framework, you'll be able to influence your stakeholders and your leaders, get their buy-in. It stops you from wondering about the what, when, or how to get desired change results. So let's take the first look at the D in the DNA. And it takes me to one of my favorite quotes of all time. This quote applies in any situation. It says, if I only had an hour to chop down a tree, I would spend the first 45 minutes sharpening my axe. Are you sharpening your skills and competencies to be able to lead and drive change? There's another similar quote by Jim Rohn, and it talks about that you can cut down a tree with a hammer, but it takes about 30 days. But if you trade the hammer for an axe, you can cut it down in about 30 minutes. So are you applying the right skills and competencies to be able to lead and manage change, or are you just throwing anything about it? The difference can be 30 days or 30 minutes. So how do you go about discovering? I want you to first of all think about discovering what are the key change leadership skills that you have. Do an audit. What are some of your change leadership skills versus what you have and what you don't have? So the D is about discovering and then mastering the right change leadership skills that will help you to successfully lead change. It's about freeing your time and effort from activities that don't work anymore. So your toolkit is no longer about models, frameworks, and methodology. They all have its place. And it's no longer about solely those. It's about equipping your toolkit with the various change leadership skills that will help you become more successful at what it is you do. Simply put, effectively leading change requires having the right skills and competencies to do so. So discover those skills. There are about 10 skills, they're more than 10 skills, but we have 10 skills and competencies that we focus on in the Change Leadership Accelerator program, one of which is empathy and emotional intelligence, my favorite. There are other skills that you can think about from collaboration, visionary, communication, decision-making, critical thinking, and more. But I'm going to share with you why empathy is one of the greatest change leadership skills to develop and have. I remember starting out my on this new project assignment, and while I was speaking to the project management team, they shared with me that there was this director that was being difficult and would not assign resources to the project, and they asked if I could help. Of course, I said, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help drive adoption. I'm here to help lead and drive this change. On meeting with this director, the meeting just took a bad turn immediately. The director started screaming in the meeting, ready to walk out of the meeting. At that point, no change management model, no change management method would have come in handy. I had to apply empathy to understand why was that stakeholder feeling that way. I also had to apply emotional intelligence to control my own emotions and not respond back in the same way. And I was able to resolve the issue. And this director went on to become my biggest ally in the organization. There would be meetings happening that as a change manager, I was supposed to be in that meeting, but I hadn't been made aware of it. This director would literally say, "Where is Yvonne?" and would ask for me to be present for that meeting to go forward. You can imagine what that did for my career. It was exponential. Having change leadership skills will trump any change management methodology over and over again. What I'm going to do in some of the next few slides is share testimonies or people who talk about how applying change leadership skills have been able to help them in their own journey. I would love for you to hear from me, take my word for it, but I also want you to hear from people who they were able to apply change leadership skills and how that has helped them in order to be able to lead and drive change. The first person I want you to meet is folks like Eniola who are from different industries. She's a lead consultant, business analyst, and this is what she had to say. She said, when it came to anything change leadership, I was unable to speak authoritatively and did not always know how my role as a lead business analyst could support leading change. I did not feel I was equipped as I needed to be to drive change effectively, but that changed. And she goes on to say that she strongly recommends this practical change leadership course because it taught her that, she was able to immediately use skills that she was getting out of that program on her current project. It also contained a lot of sample scenarios, which made it very relatable and easy to apply. That's what she talks about having discovered her change leadership competencies and applying that to be able to lead change more effectively in her role. I now want us to talk about the N in the DNA, which is the ability to navigate. I want you to carefully read this quote. It talks about knowledge is the acquiring of facts, understanding is the interpreting of the facts, and wisdom is the application of it. When it comes to leading and driving change, you've discovered it, and it's time to really say, has it all been about acquiring the knowledge, or is it now about how you apply that knowledge? Are you acquiring knowledge, models, and facts alone, or are you learning to apply that knowledge to get you the results? How do you learn to apply it? By focusing on learning a practical way of approaching things, by practicing it. It takes time. It doesn't just happen immediately. And also by getting mentoring. That will help speed up the process. The practical application of change leadership skills leads to overcoming obstacles for your ideas and projects with management or stakeholders, secure resources that you need for your change or project, driving the adoption of change, engaging with employees, colleagues, and stakeholders to get their buy-in. When I see resistance to change, I love it. My eyes just light up when I see resistance to change, because to me, I just feel, wow, I know what I'm going to do with this. This is going to help me. It doesn't scare me because I know how I can turn that situation around to benefit the project that I'm working on or the change initiative that I'm working on. Navigating is about moving the knowledge that you have to the to application to success. It's about navigating your change leadership initiatives with ease, knowing the right tools to use, or even the models or templates, knowing when it's required, knowing whether that change model that has been assigned by your organization, if it's the right change model or methodology or approach to use, or whether you need to bring in other models or templates. It's about knowing all of those things and how to apply them effectively. So I need you to think about it. When it comes to leading and driving change in your organization, are you acquiring knowledge, models, and facts alone? Or are you able to apply change leadership skills to those knowledge to be able to get effective results? Organizations are tired of cookie cutter templates. They're tired of buzzwords. They're tired of all of that. I remember being on a project and, you know, our project, thankfully, was getting great results. And they came to me, you know, and so my sponsor was in a meeting with, you know, senior stakeholders, their co-meeting. And they said, what exactly are you doing on your project that is so different from this other project? And they said, well, we have a change management consultant on it. And the other one said, we have one as well. So they asked the director on the other project to reach out to our project, and I got connected with the director. And as I started to speak to her, share with her my approach, share with her how I was doing things, she went on to say, you're the first person that has just simply broke things down for me in terms of what change management needs. Because sometimes we think organizations are pushing back on change management. They're not pushing back on change management. They're pushing back on the buzzwords. They're pushing back on the templates. Organizations want results. They're looking for doers. When I go into projects, I'm working with stakeholders. I don't use the word stakeholder impact analysis. I don't use the word change strategy with my stakeholders. I don't use those buzzwords. I work with them to find ways that we can effectively lead and drive the change to get results. So it's not often what you know, but it's what you're able to do with what you know. It's not about having the axe, but it's knowing how to use it and sharpening your skills regularly. And this can apply to any tool that you're using. It's just like months ago, like I'm in Toronto, Canada, and sometimes it really snows. So there was this last winter, there was this big storm and it was really snowing, and you had people going out and buying a snow blower because to help manage with the snow. So they knew what a snow blower looked like. They did their research on Google on the best snow blower to get. On Google, it told them how to use it. But using that snowblower was another thing. It was just fun watching people use the snowblower and blowing snow into another person's, driveway and just using it in the wrong way. So you may have heard of empathy, you may have heard of emotional intelligence, you may have Googled it, but knowing how to use these skills and tools in the right way is another thing. And that is what will help you be most effective. I want to share with you what Donna had to say about being able to apply change leadership, the practical knowledge of it versus having just theoretical knowledge. She says, while I've taken change management courses in the past, I've struggled with applying what I've learned in the classroom. With the change leadership program, with the DNA, and this is the DNA framework, this provided a completely different approach, focusing not just on concepts and techniques, but how to work with them in the real world. And then she goes on to say she felt more confident in understanding how to lead change and embody it, regardless of whether she was pushing up to get buy-in from senior management or whether she was working broadly with other people. I want us to take a look at the A in the DNA, and that is anticipate. The best way to having even a small measure of success is to prepare for it and to plan for it in advance, be it personally or at work. This is what it means to be prepared to respond to change, not waiting for when the change is upon us to react. So it's about moving away from being reactionary to being responsive. The A in anticipate is about being prepared to respond to change faster with practical and proven strategies to make it work. It's about the ability to preempt what could happen, prepare for it, and respond to it in a way that is more effective. Think about the pandemic. I want to say that hit us previously, but we're still coming out of the pandemic. Is that there were organizations who were able to respond versus those who were able to react. The ones who were able to respond to it, they moved much quicker than organizations who had to react. Some still got there, they still made it happen, but it was a slower process, and some couldn't just react quick enough. Do you react to change by leaving it too late and having to scramble? This is a question from my co-facilitators to you today. Or do you anticipate and are you responsive to change? The changes that are taking place around you in your career, in the workplace, and on your projects? Are you learning new and effective ways of leading change to get results? And these are just some of the ways that you can think about doing that. Are you monitoring patterns and opportunities that are around you? Are you monitoring trends in the way things are done so that you're more effective when it comes to being able to be responsive to change or lead the change or drive the change? Are you applying the right change leadership skills and tools? So just looking at, even when it comes to anticipating, one of these ways, how you anticipate and prevent resistance to change. You can anticipate it by how you engage with your stakeholders, by the type of assessments that you're conducting early on in the process, by connecting with your stakeholders, by having those meetings like Erin, who sits down to really understand the organization, to really understand who her stakeholders are, to understand the business leads and what their needs are before she jumps in to start creating her change strategy. before she jumped in to do her change management plan. I've been in projects where I did not even have to work with a change management plan, because leading change is not always about the documents. It's being able to be more effective when you're working with your stakeholders, because change management is about people. It's about helping people, not moving people. It's about helping people move from A to B to C to the required destination. And sometimes it's not about the documents. The documents is just your own internal planning tool. The models are just your own internal planning tool. How you work with your stakeholders will also help you to anticipate and prevent resistance to change. And that's just an example of what it means to anticipate. Success is never an accident. It's always the result of a plan. They say chance favors the prepared. So I would say get prepared, stay ready, so that you don't have to get ready later on when it's too late. This is another favorite quote of mine. We need to be able to anticipate, strategize, and respond to change better and faster in today's business landscape. That's key, because we never know what's going to hit us or what's going to come upon us. I like the example of another student of mine. She didn't even, at that point, she didn't think she needed to get on the change leadership program, but she was like, you know what, this would be a good way to, develop my skills. And here's what she said, she said about being prepared ahead of time instead of just waiting. She said, I used to be worried about resistance to change, but seeing that there are strategies out there that you can use to manage resistance makes me feel empowered. The program focuses on best practices, strategies to lead organizational change. The strength of the program lies in the focus of change leadership competencies, which are essential to tap into any given situation. Having completed the course, I feel more at ease knowing that there are tools and strategies at my fingertips that can be leveraged to mobilize change, sustain change, and deal with change resistance. You know what's interesting about this? After she'd written this, she reached out to me and she said, you know what? I just had a new boss come on board. I was suddenly given the task, to lead change and drive some new change. And I just immediately knew what to do. Because this was a new leader that she had the responsibility to prove herself. She went on to get a promotion and she went on to move into another role as well, into another organization. That was how I was able to help her accelerate her career. So what I want you to know today, and if there's a takeaway that you can take out of this session, is I want you to know that you can successfully lead and manage change to become a change leader in your organization and industry without having to constantly worry about what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. At the beginning of the program, I promised that I was going to share with you, how to increase your influence and stand out as a change leader at work and in your industry. And you can do this by discovering and applying change leadership skills and applying it to the right situation as needed. When do I need to be more empathetic? When do I need to be more emotionally intelligent? When do I need to focus on decision making? When do I need to be agile and responsive? These are all change leadership skills that you can pull out of your toolkit to know when to apply it, how to apply it, and the best situation to apply it. I say with decision making, sometimes you have to collaborate with people, but you also have to know, when do I just move forward quickly and make a decision to take the project or the change initiative to the next stage? That's all around critical thinking and how you make things happen. And those are things that we focus on teaching on the Change Leadership Accelerator program, how we can apply change leadership skills in the most practical way to get real results. I promised I was going to share with you how to overcome constant roadblocks when leading change to get results with your stakeholders. By following a more human-centered approach to lead and managing change, focusing less on templates and models and certifications, and focusing on developing skills like empathy to navigate and respond to the people side of change is key. I shared a recent example of how, we were with our stakeholders. And, I was observing this meeting, and the next thing, the person responsible for the meeting a change leader or change practitioner or professional whips out her agenda. We have to go through this, touch on this, 1, 2, 3, 4, X, Y, Z. And you're with the stakeholder who you have said, I want to learn from the stakeholder. But they weren't giving the stakeholder a chance to connect with them, to find common ground, to listen. They had their template that they needed to get through, as opposed to focusing in a collaborative manner with the stakeholder and applying empathy to the situation and listening and utilizing emotional intelligence. True life situation, they were just focused on their template, the sections in the template, how to get the information that they needed. Big opportunity miss right there to connect with the stakeholder. And I shared with you that, if you're relatively new to leading and managing change and try to figure out what works, I shared with you top mistakes, outdated approaches that do not work, and how you can differentiate yourself from being more of a change leader and less of the tactical. I shared with you that there is a difference between change leadership and change management. Change management, very tactical, very focused on change management methodologies, often project driven. Change leadership focused on skills, your interpersonal skills, regardless of whether you're on a project or not. You need change leadership skills to be able to drive the change forward. And that's what the pandemic has taught us, that anybody can be called to lead and drive change. And it's your ability to lead and drive change that will help you stand out in your career. So I want to ask you if any of these ideas resonated with you. And I will answer your questions. So if you have questions, please put them in the chat. I will answer the questions. I'm coming to answer questions. I want to give as much as possible today. If any of what I've said around the mistakes, around the change leadership DNA, discovering your change leadership competencies and skills, how to develop them in order to be able to navigate through the change situations and having to be able to anticipate and use these skills in the most effective way. If any of that resonated with you, what I'm going to do next is going deeper to tell you how you can gain this at a deeper level. I did mention to you earlier that I will share more with you on how you can take your skills to the next level. There's only so much that I can teach you in 1 hour. I want to be able to move you and move us. I see it as collectively. I so many times I don't like the word you, but I want to move us from a state where we're constantly wondering and worrying about what to do, to move us to a state where we're more confident in facing challenges head on to successfully lead and manage change. Like I said to you, I get excited when I see resistance to change. To me, it's a great thing because I know there's so much opportunity to learn how to get the best results for the project or for that change initiative. So I embrace it and I love it. And that's where I want to get us to, where we're smiling when it comes to leading change and managing change, and it doesn't feel like a headache. So I'd like you to introduce you to the Change Leadership Program. I'm going to take some time to tell you more about it if this is something that you want to get on with. And I'm still going to share with you free templates that you can take on to think more about how you can develop your change leadership skills for the future. So if it's all about saying, you know what, right now I want to stop wondering about the what, the how, and to start successfully leading change. This is what the program goes into, to provide you with the skills and tools to help position you as a change leader in your organization and industry. And how do we do this? We do it by providing a roadmap. We do it by providing tools that take the guesswork out of getting consistent and successful change outcomes. Our change leadership DNA provides practical, tested, timeless approach to helping you successfully lead and manage change in your organization, whether you're just getting started or many years in. I remember Samantha coming onto the program. I was like, why is Samantha coming onto this program? When she came onto the change leadership program, she's a professional with 18 years experience. And though she had change credentials and degree, she said, she wanted to take a course that spoke to change leadership. She goes on to say that the Change Leadership Accelerator program helped synthesize her knowledge. It enhanced her learning and provided valuable resources that she could bring back to the office, and refers to it as a great resource. I have to say, when she took the program, I was like, Samantha, are you sure you need this program? So it was amazing to have her, share the results of having attended the program. And this program is now open, enrollment is now open. So I want to share, if it's something that you're interested, I want to share more about it with you. And from there, go on to answer questions that you have. So this is a bird's eye view of what the program is in the program and what you get out of the program. It's a roadmap that to help you confidently and successfully lead change in a practical step-by-step manner. It's an online program. You get a change leadership course, you get a DNA method, you get a private access community, and you get networking. You're going to get the Change Leadership Accelerator that will help you increase your influence at work. It will help you lead and manage change, respond more quick and effectively than before, and get you noticed at work and in your industry. You're going to be able to knock down barriers, enhance your change leadership skills by making sure that you are in the best possible position for that next big opportunity when it comes. It not only equips you at work, but in your industry as well. You're going to be able to learn about it in your own time because it's an online program. And at the same time, you're going to be getting full support from me and my team and fellow members when you take part in the bi-monthly live teaching and mentoring calls. So a little bit more about it. So the program, like I mentioned, it has the Change Leadership DNA, which is focused on the practical what and how. It has 6 modules with pre-recorded videos. It has ongoing leadership coaching and mentoring. It has workbooks, exercises, quizzes, and additional reading, and it has a certificate of completion. And in the programs, we cover the things like change leadership fundamentals, how to raise your influence at work and to become a more effective change leader, how to design and build your strategy for change. I don't say change strategy, but how to design and build your strategy for change, how to manage resistance to change and overcome barriers, how to mobilize and prepare your colleagues, leaders, teams, and organization for change. Because guess what? One mistake that we make is that we think that we're Superman, we think that we're the superhero, we think that we're Wonder Woman. So we come in here thinking that we can create the solution and take the change forward. Leading change is about saying, I'm the shepherd in this journey. My stakeholders are the hero. And how do I mobilize them and prepare them in order for us to go on a journey together to be able to more effectively lead and drive the change? It goes on to talk about key management models, and I leave this to the very end intentionally because it's not about the key change management models, but it's about how at the end we can use our change leadership competencies. So regardless of whatever change management tool, framework, or model that we're faced with, how do we apply change leadership skills to get the most effective use out of them? If you're still with me, I know that you may have questions about the program and what it involves and what it can do for you. So I'm going to go into it a little bit in more details. Here's a few things you can get. Like I mentioned, you will get pre-recorded teachings, plus additional live teachings and coaching recording. You will get lifetime access to the recording so that you can go back to it in your own time and just say, you know what, I remember I did that. That really helped me. I'm going back to it. I still see folks coming back and saying, hey, Yvonne, can you send me this? Can you help me here? Yvonne, how do I do this? Yvonne, I need to listen to this program again. Do I still have access? I'm like, of course, you do still have access. Go on, go check it out. You get a downloadable workbook with practical activities and exercises that will further augment your learning, so that you can apply the skills and the knowledge that you're learning immediately. That is critical. We ask you to take a real life case study that you're working on, use that in the workbook to apply the learning, and even come on to the coaching and mentoring calls for us to walk through the change that you're going through. So each module comes with a workbook which will enhance your learning, giving you practical activities and exercises to apply to everything that you learn and to your work right away. We have an online community that you'll be able to share ideas and learn from fellow members and make friends, for life. One of the students said, apart from what she took from the modules, apart from the knowledge, she was able to walk away with a network and being part of a growing change leadership community. While I take a break, I want to play this for you to listen to what somebody said about the value of having a network of other change professionals.
I just wanted to make a quick comment, Yvonne. It has been a privilege doing these courses with you. And the friends that I have made, I still keep in touch with, and I absolutely love the people that I've met on your courses. Actually helped me find a job, you know that. All right. And yeah, and supported me when, like, I found a job 2 months later, they terminated a whole lot of people, yada, yada. Okay, the friends that I made on this course were the ones that actually knew and felt what I was going through. Right, and supported me through all this, and then and I found something else. We all went out to supper. Right, it was.
Oh my gosh! I didn't realize all of this was going on behind.
Oh, yeah.
So that was one of the testimonials that was so unexpected. I was running one of our sessions, and she, different cohorts. She'd sent a previous session, and she just jumped on to just share that with me. So that was amazing.
I just wanted to make.
And you also get checklists and templates to accelerate your learning and make sure that everything you're learning is repeatable and measurable. And you also get key models and frameworks, which is just one piece of the puzzle, like I said, but how to effectively use them and how you can put everything we teach into practice straight away, and when and how to choose a model to use, whether it's one that has been assigned by your organization or not. And at the end, we're going to give you a certificate to show that you're going to be able to, for your own personal use. You can share it if you want, but you will get a certificate at the end. We're going to help you track your progress by helping you to set an assessment, test your change leadership skills, and make sure that you're where you need to be. We're going to make sure that you have a wholesome learning experience and not just a certificate to go with it. And that's not all. I told you that we're going to give you bonuses. So you're also going to get 1 year VIP club membership where on our community, and you are going to get live group teaching and mentoring sessions. These are bonuses that we offer. And for our VIP community, you get all our conference latest recordings before it's released to the community. We get curated change leadership career development masterminds. We had one at the beginning of the year where we brought in people who were in board positions, people who are partners, CEO positions, whereby they just share their learning and career journey with our community. And with our bi-monthly live teaching sessions and mentoring sessions, this is another great opportunity that I want to hear directly from a community member. It goes beyond what I would say. So here's another one.
So I just wanted to say that also the previous session when we had Amy joining and we've had more discussions around the current topic I've had at work, that was super helpful, and as much as the sessions have always been helpful, it was so great to see the dynamics there. And also, I currently have much more clarity on where I am with change management plan for my current project, and I can see how different things are progressing and how different ideas about the working sessions are supported by the comments from you and from Amy. So I'm super glad that we will be staying as members of the community as well, where we can constantly discuss different topics, and hopefully those inputs can just keep coming through. And from my side, I also wanted to thank you, Yvonne, for being there and for organizing that cohort. That was super helpful experience, as I mentioned before, especially at the beginning of change management practice that I started.
You're welcome. So that just says this. I'm not going to go into what it is all about, but those are the values that people get out from the mentoring sessions that we have with them when they're working on real life project situations, and they can come and say, I'm working through this change management issue, or I'm working with stakeholders, or I'm having these issues, and we can brainstorm together. So the program is now open. Like I said, the doors are officially open, and a link will be posted in the chat for you to join. And if you want to join, this is what it looks like. This is the investment that you have. You can have an installment 3-month plan, or you can have a one-off one-time payment and make some savings on the program. And you get all of these fantastic things that it is that we've spoken about. But I have one final bonus for you. And this was a bonus that we made available to the folks who attended our conference, and I'm extending that out for the next 4 or 5 days. It expires actually on Monday. And for the entire program, it's $12.97 that you would pay for it, but you can get $400 off today if you take advantage of it. And using the code ChangeLead2022, if you pop that code in, you'll be able to take advantage of the $400 off, and you can get it for $897, or you can get 3 installment payments for $343, saving you a whole $400 off, only available until Monday. And you know what? This is the biggest bonus of all. You also get your 90-day money guarantee back. You qualify for a refund. No questions asked. If you feel that this isn't something that is for you, it didn't help you, we're always happy to give you that refund, because our aim is really to support you in your change leadership journey. And that is what we're all about. So extra bonus for you, because that's the question I know that people have when they want to sign up for something. Will this really help me? Is this what I really need to learn? This will help answer that question for you if you're on the fence and thinking whether this is for you or not. So maybe you're thinking, is this program for me? Is it worth the investment? The question isn't whether you will get your investment back. The question is, how much can you afford to lose by not doing it? Wouldn't it be great to have the right tools to get the right results? Wouldn't it be great to feel more confident and secure in your ability to lead and manage change regardless of the situation that you're faced with? Wouldn't it be great to have a mentor and a sounding board that you can work with when faced with a challenge? Those are the questions that you should be asking yourself. And if this is something that's still interesting and you're still thinking, is this something that I need to get on? I want to be able to answer those frequently asked questions that I get, but not answer it myself, but answer it from the perspective of other people. You know, this is what Joanne had to say. She said, this is an investment worth making. For those new to change management or interested in enhancing their current toolkit, the Change Leadership course is it. Plenty of learning tools, change model comparisons, and a community of like-minded and trend-watching change professionals. Happy to have found the community. Whether you're a change manager, a project professional, a leader, a manager, this is what Lisa had to say. She says, this course brings a very practical perspective to leading change, and it's not just for change managers, but for anyone who has a role to play in delivering change. I'm glad I took the time to complete the Change Leadership Accelerator program. And Lisa is another like overly qualified, I would say, change leader, manager, person that does change. So it was great to have her on this program. And she goes on to say, I have a broader understanding of various change models and when to apply them individually or collectively to get the best outcomes for my initiatives. And I want to share with you what Shireen had to say. To me, what I loved about Shireen was how her confidence became exponential and how she was able to use this to go on to get jobs in her career, develop herself on her change leadership and change management journey. She says, I gain a better understanding of change leadership, enhancing my competencies and knowing which change management method to best use. It has increased my confidence to pursue my career as an effective change leader. And a banner goes on to say, go for it. You will walk away with knowledge and tools that you didn't know you needed. but that are extremely valuable. Before attending this course, it was a challenge mobilizing change. With getting resistant leaders on board, I walked away with more tools to enhance my ability to influence and lead change. So today I want to say thank you so much for taking time to attend this masterclass, and I hope to see you on the program. We've put the link for registering for the program, the Change Leadership Accelerator program below. So thank you. And do let me know if you have any questions, because I'm going to take the time to answer them. Another bonus we spoke about at the start of the session, I promised to provide you with this worksheet. So please go ahead. This is the link to the worksheet. We're going to be putting it in the chat. Go ahead, download this, use it to, take some time to reflect on your change leadership journey, especially in today's future of work as you prepare for it and in today's new world of work. The next program or our next mentoring classes are starting July 8th. So it would be great to have you on those classes. Feel free to, take your time. Like I said, we have this program ending, the offer we have is ending on June 6th, but take your time, join us for the next session. It would be great to have you. And on that note, I'm going to end the session and see if there are any questions that I can help answer while we still have a few more minutes.